Well, hello, I'm Barry with Empty Hammock, where you never know what you're going to see. Today you're going to see me build a tiny house on top of this trailer that I have sitting next to my house. So we're kind of starting a new chapter in our lives. It's kind of exciting. Our band is going to be doing some touring and recording. And we're going to be using a room in my house to do the recording. So as a way to provide us with that space, I'm going to build my son his own room outside of the house. It's going to be an awesome quiet spot for him to do all of his college stuff, and will enable us to use the rooms in our house a little bit more efficiently. So that's what we are working on today. He and I went and picked up all of the material for it, well, most of the material for it, and here in the cold we're going to be building this. So it's actually too cold for me to do my normal business gutter cleaning. If it's below freezing, I can't vacuum stuff out because it's frozen. So I'm just making hay while the sun shines, or making tiny house while it's cold. I don't know. So just in case we ever need to move this, which we may potentially someday if we get some property or something, we'll drag it out and set it up. I'm going to actually be gluing. One thing over the years that has really started to annoy me is when I spend money on something and it works great for a little while, and then it stops working, and then it starts working, and it's completely you don't know when and why it's going to work or when it's not going to work. Yeah, that's GoPro. They just don't always work. The other thing that annoys me is snow. So after I was just about threw my camera into the woods because it just would not turn on. Now it's working fine, of course. I got the floor joist put down, so then it snowed. So I'm going to take a minute and see if I can get this cleared off and hopefully be able to keep moving on it. It's going to be in the single digits tonight, Fahrenheit. I don't know what that would be, Celsius. You guys across the pond should just switch to Fahrenheit, because your way is so much less confusing. Here we are the next day. It is a whopping 7 degrees Fahrenheit out here. I looked it up, and that is negative 14 Celsius. Hooray. But I'm going to keep moving forward on this thing. I got the deck all cleared off yesterday, enough to work on. Yesterday, right before dark in the cold, I made 8 of these little metal brackets. I needed a way to attach this entire thing to the trailer without punching holes in the trailer into the decking or whatever, because eventually I might need my trailer back. And we'll set this thing off somewhere out in the woods or something, I don't know. So on the trailer there's these attachment points for either a 2x4 to slide down into to create walls, or a strap to go through, loop around and hook for strapping down equipment. So I'm gonna punch a hole through the base plate, put this bracket on the bottom, put a bolt down through it, and bolt it down all the way around. I'm about to chuck this camera into the woods. Cannot keep it going, so hopefully it'll last long enough to show you the insulation that I just got put on. It is about 1.5 inches or so off of the deck itself so that I can have airflow under. That might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but it's not. In this situation, I did not want to seal it in place because the paper acts as a sealer, a vapor barrier, and I need that insulation to be able to breathe. I've seen so many houses with sealed insulation where it gets wet and then just festers and molds. Not a good situation. So I got that air gap. Next thing is the decking on top. Hopefully when I turn the camera off in a second, I'll be able to turn it back on again. We'll see. Ha! It turned on. Good. Let's get this down. Well, hey, it turned back on again. Very cool. Okay, so that is all of the plywood like it's gonna be. I'm gonna get it hosed off. And by hosed, I mean blown off. I'm not using a hose. I don't want it to get wet. That's the point. I'm gonna clean the top off, and then I have some plastic. So this is very, very temporary. I'm gonna cover the whole thing, nail it down. Actually probably put the walls on top of it. It's supposed to rain a bunch next week. I want to try to get it dried in without the insulation getting wet from the rain. And then once it's done, I'll just cut the plastic back out from the inside. So I think that'll work. I have been able to make a little bit of progress last couple of days despite the cold. It is currently 14 degrees Fahrenheit. It's negative 10 Celsius out here. A little bit chilly. I have built one wall. Unfortunately, the camera was and wasn't able to capture that. But anyway, I have one wall built on top of it that I'm going to set up. This is the one that has the door in it. I'll get the door cut out after. I can't lift this by myself because I went ahead and put the T111 on it while it's flat on the ground. It's so much easier to do it. So I'm going to end up probably using my tractor, see if I can get that guy started, being 14 degrees out here. I've had hypothermia twice in my life, and I've broken 11 bones. Every time it gets cold, all of those bones come back and say hello. I do not like the cold. But it's still not as cold as it was in Granby, Colorado when I was working out there for a week or so. Stupid fluffy frozen water falling from the sky. Oh. Doing a oxygen generator system. That was absolutely brutal. Well, cold winds. I don't want to kill the battery completely. Maybe I'll try a little bit of that later this afternoon if it, I don't know, maybe when it gets to like 15 degrees. Alright, I had to give it about 20 minutes on the charger. And I had to rearrange my head situation to get a little bit warmer. But I got it going. It's good. It's finally warmed up to almost freezing here a couple days later. Unfortunately, I can't work yet because there's still too much unmelted snow on roofs. I did, however, get that wall up. Of course, the camera wasn't able to stay alive long enough to catch it. The next wall I have mostly gotten together. There's a few little pieces, some of the window jacks and stuff that I need to still put in place. The door and two windows I have strapped to that tree so they don't blow off. The wind here has been horrendous, like 40-mile-an-hour gusts. But this wall stayed in place. It's anchored in pretty good.